Hey guys, welcome back to some World of Warships. Today we're in the Satsuma, one of my favorite battleships in the game, purely for its special gimmick where you get 35% better dispersion once every 4 or 5 salvos, something like that. It's very, very useful, as you can probably imagine, having insane firepower like this and then not having to worry about dispersion every once in a while. This game in particular, I'm actually going to activate Yamamoto on this Satsuma. I think that's the first time I've actually done that, and it's a little ridiculous. We're also combining that with arms race, which we all know makes, has the potential to make some ships pretty insane. First shot of the game here, Brisbane goes a little too broadside, and that's exactly what we want to see out of a Satsuma, isn't it? Just a beautiful start. Our positioning here, pretty solid, especially for the way the enemy team has deployed themselves. We're trying to push in as much as we can, as you know. That's all I really want to do, is have closer range engagements. I really am not a huge fan of sniping at long range. And super ships really can devolve into that very quickly. So even in a Satsuma, still gonna try and push in. Positioning is actually very good, and we're actually gonna get ourselves our next salvo into a broadside Annapolis. And be a little disappointed, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. Yep, in the moment, a little disappointed as well, as you could probably imagine. So that's going to be the issue with the Satsuma. At times, it seems to have really bad dispersion. I don't really understand it. It might just be this unlock bug idea, but whatever it is, it's kind of frustrating. He's still going to stay broadside to us. Hopefully this time we get a little better dispersion. It looks okay. Hopefully it lands where we need it to, and it does, or at least one of them does. So we nearly take him out there. Very good start still, don't get me wrong, but some of those are a little bit disappointing. I would much rather those hits do some big damage than get some of those ticky-tack citadels at long range that are overmatch citadels, where people are angled, and they probably shouldn't be taking 30k to their bow or stern and that kind of thing. He's going to try and get away here. We will try and finish him off. But I do need to consider that there's a submarine after me. Unfortunately, we don't actually quite get him there, although we are still at 95,000 damage, and it's barely 5 minutes into this match. But we do need to finish him off. Arms race is rather unique in that it gives people the ability to just consistently heal. As you can see by the buffs here, both teams have a third of that potential healing that we can get in this match. So we do want to finish him off. I'm not sure why he's trying to still just blind fire us here on such low HP. That seems like an odd choice, but hey, I'll take it. Hopefully our rear guns can finish up the job here. And we do, just barely. I nearly missed that one. But a decent start here. I will definitely take it. And now we have to move a little closer to the middle of the map. That's a bit of the downside with going to the flanks early on if the enemy team kind of collapses there and runs away. That's going to happen in this game. We do a very good job at the start, but it does mean we're a little out of position for the rest of the game, where if we'd stayed a little more centralized, we can impact other areas of the map a little bit easier. But this game, it seemed to work out reasonably well, but you can tell that the team on the other side, yeah, our team's not doing great over there. Iwami long range shot and torp protection hit, really? These salvos are very difficult to hit, of course, especially if someone's maneuvering and paying attention to you. But this guy appears to just be straight lining. And I gotta say, even looking back at this, I think my aim point is pretty good here. I'm just kind of not getting the dispersion that I need. And I'm not going to use my buff on this shot. Dude, probably save it a little bit too often, waiting for that perfect scenario. But some of these I think should be doing a little more damage. Still though, there is plenty of game left to be played here, and we're getting a little closer to the middle of the map. Of course, with Arms Race, it's essentially Epicenter. The game mode they did remove just with buffs, and the center of the map is incredibly important here. As you can see, that area is appearing in a minute. So we definitely want to be engaging that area of the map as quickly as we can. Try and get a hold of some of these buffs in the middle, but also some of those stronger islands. I'd like to do that. Satsuma, of course, does excel at mid and long ranges relative to the other battleships, but it can do really good at closer ranges as well, especially if you don't have to worry about 32mm overmatch, something that is a little more common at this super ship tier, but Unicum doesn't have that. neither does Montana. So you're actually going to see me play where I don't actually show all of my guns at closer ranges to this Montana or the Yushikov, since I'm a little worried about that cheek citadel. It's very important that you're trying to hide that as much as you can, at least at closer ranges. If you're able to shoot all your guns in this ship, you are vulnerable to getting citadel there, so something to keep in mind. But I do still think it's worth pushing in, even in this ship. If you're doing great at 15 to 20 kilometers, you're probably going to do better at 10 kilometers or less than 10 kilometers, since people are just a little easier to hit at those closer ranges, not enough room or time to maneuver, that kind of thing. It's really important to try and maximize that ability to push in and have those easier shots. And that's what we're going to need here. We're going to want to win this game. It's a close match somehow. Super ships with subs, and it's arms race. I would typically say this is a very easily blowout kind of game. It's going to lead to a lot of blowouts. And yet, very close game here. We do manage to take out the sub, which feels great. I was a little worried about that guy, since we hadn't seen him for a very long time. If you haven't seen a sub for a while on your flank, well, it's pretty likely they're just going to pop up next to you and shotgun you at some point. Very difficult to predict that. Montana looks to be turning back into us here. Flat broadside. Yes, finally we're going to make use of our buff here. And by the looks of things, it should land reasonably well if he's going to go full speed in that turn. And unfortunately for us, he actually does slow down, which is very smart if you are in that situation where you are kind of caught broadside. It's important to be playing with your speed as well as your rudder to dodge things, but it does mean, yeah, we wasted our buff. Holding it that long and then just wasting it there feels kind of bad. But we've had a decent start so far. Our aim punch here is from getting caught on the island for whatever reason. Our ship is just bouncing up and down, so we gotta wait a little bit. And that amount of time, I think, is enough for this guy to maybe turn out. No. We missed. I'm not sure. Looking back at that a couple times before recording this, I think what happened is he saw our shells coming in and was just able to turn in. That's my best guess. I don't really know how. It's unfortunate he did go dark. It doesn't allow us to actually see it. Although, there we go. Nearly 12k into a Unicum. I don't know about you guys, but I find dispersion seems to work its best when I'm actually shooting DDs. It's really weird. A cruiser will go broadside at times. Although in this one we did manage to snag the Brisbane, but let's take the Annapolis example. And it'll just be a shotgun. And then pretty consistently against DDs, I'm just gonna find myself crushing them with 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 8 shells even at these ranges. It's kind of ridiculous. Buff acquired again, Montana in front of us broadside. Would have liked to see a little more damage than that. But you can see how just holding down the middle of the map here like this is going to be a great way to win a lot of these arms race games. And even though a Montana isn't the biggest threat to us, I am still pretty wary about going flat broadside to him, or even angling enough to give him this cheek. Yushikov's far enough away that I don't think he has the pen for our broadside. The Satsuma does actually have a little bit more armor than a Yamato might at these ranges. So Yushikov, since he has Kremlin guns, not the biggest threat in the world to us, at least right now. But that's 4 kills, 183,000 damage. But as you know, we have a lot to go yet in this game if we're going to collect the damage and kill count that I showed you guys in the title. That's going to help a lot, though. Somehow, no Citadel. We did like 30k to that Yushikov. Certainly not used to that. Thinking more along the lines of shatters on the belt armor is pretty typical, but I will take it. And then this Minotaur pushes out, and we do have the buff for him. And there it is. The fireworks on a Japanese battleship. We've managed to get a Kraken with Yamamoto, and look at that reload. I had to do a double take. 13.5 seconds. We're already loaded again. If I had been paying more attention, would have easily had a second buffed salvo here. I don't know if I shot that one quite in time to receive the buff, but we're still going to do some massive damage. Not even a Citadel, still 25k. Arms race buffs, keep in mind, so there are alpha damage buffs, and we have all 3 of the potential reload buffs we could get in this one. So a bit of an extreme example, but 13.5 second reload on a Satsuma. you didn't know what Yamamoto does, he buffs your reload and he gives you a 2-minute heal, basically. Kind of ridiculous. It's really difficult to proc though, so especially on a battleship, in DDs or even cruisers, it'll be a little easier since you can secure some kills here and there. Yushikov, no citadels again, yet somehow 3 pens and 2 overpens was enough to kill him there. That alpha damage, eh? So that's 6 kills, 288,000 damage. Potential for a 7th and 300,000 damage. Ibuki, turning broadside, I'm waiting. Patience, don't want to mess it up now. And that first shell does manage to do enough. So that's going to be the second dev strike in this game. 7 kills, 310,000 damage. In arms race, we do have to add that little asterisk, of course. But man, this felt good. I feel like I've been having a lot of bad battleship games recently. And getting this one was very, very nice. I really, really enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've had a game that good. And this one even resulted in nearly 4,000 base XP. It's a ridiculous number, especially for a battleship. As for the build here on the Satsuma, I don't really think you should follow it before you look at it. Just know I like to experiment, all right? That's what I like to do. Yep. Trying super heavy AP shells. It's pretty bad, but the extra damage is kind of hilarious. On this ship in particular, you do get 20,855 alpha damage. At the cost of fire duration, of course. That is pretty painful, so keep that in mind. I'd recommend just running basic survivability instead. Otherwise, the build is fine. But that one, try it if you want to. I'm not going to say it's good, but it is fun, I think, to see those massive numbers. And especially in arms race, where you can buff up that alpha even more. It's a little ridiculous. Of course, we're going reload. I'm going to go damage control here since we need to put out those fires as best we can with this stupid build. Then, of course, AVIC systems. I'm even going to go damage control party mod 1 here. Pretty basic. Satsuma doesn't have a lot of special gimmicks outside of the accuracy, right? You're not buffing secondaries. You're not trying to go crazy concealment. You know, best it can do is 14.5. So it's a really vanilla battleship at the super ship tier where it really is a super ship because of that accuracy. So you want to maximize that as much as you can. A very fun game. Those don't happen too often, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I just had to share that one with you guys. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.